morning. This one's painted frozen blue metallic, and I'm curious what you think about the paint job. I was not a fan at first. More time spent with it, it's like, you just don't see cars this color, and it's Porsche's first all-electric vehicle. It's different, so I kind of come around on the color. And actually, someone asked about that question in the comments, questions that are asked later. First, I want to give a quick shout out to Aaron Roberts and the SARPIC, two independent people who became MilesPerHr members since this past week. Thank you guys so much for your support of the channel. If you guys want to support the channel, I've got YouTube memberships and Patreon account, so either way. And anyway, just sharing videos and liking videos is also support, but thank you guys so much for your support. First, I'm going to answer the questions from YouTube's community page and Instagram, where I posed the question about this vehicle. What do you want to know first? And so I'll answer those questions first. Also follow me on TikTok, guys, because I'm posting daily videos on there and some fun stuff that you don't get to see on YouTube. So definitely follow me there, all at MilesPerHr, like the brand. So Brett is working the camera as usual. What are our questions, Brett? What are we starting off with?
Okay, first question from Luca. Would you take this over a Model S?
Would I take this over a Model S? Definitely, 100%. It is more expensive, even in its base form, but the thing about a Porsche is they're engineered not just to be quick and exciting in a straight line, that's a Tesla, but they really handle so well. They put so much effort into making the Taycan just manipulate itself so sweetly around corners, and to give you that feedback as a driver, it's just so much more engaging. So I would definitely take the Taycan over a Model S. I also think it looks significantly better. The Model S keeps getting better looking with each update, and I also like the interior of the Taycan better, so I'm going to say definitely Taycan over Model S.
Uberlift asked, does it have blind spot assistance?
It does have blind spot monitoring, yes. That is not a standard feature, I don't believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone who knows. I don't think it's a standard feature, but it definitely has blind spot monitoring on this one. Let's show the front end a little bit. What do you guys think about the Porsche? This is like on all their vehicles now. We've got the 4 LED daytime running lights. It's super cool. It's like a signature Porsche trait. When you see that, you know it's Porsche. It also, like, what I like about the Taycan, it doesn't look like the Panamera. So you're not going to confuse the two on the road. This is significantly shorter and lower to the ground than the Panamera. And the design's different too. What's our next question?
The next question is from Yvonne. Does it feel heavy, and how does it handle?
Yvonne asked if it feels heavy and how does it handle. It handles amazingly well. One, just like the engineering of electric vehicles these days, having the batteries so low down in the floorboards means that the center of gravity is super low, so it corners very flatly. But add to that Porsche's expertise in dialing steering feel and the turn-in response and the suspension tuning. It just drives so well. It drives like a Porsche. It's electric, and so the dynamics of your drive are different in certain ways, with regen braking or without. Having the coast, the ability to coast effortlessly with an electric vehicle, disconnect to that 2-speed automatic in the rear, is different than a gas-powered vehicle. Nice, that's Z06. But it drives so well, and it feels heavier than your average Porsche, but it doesn't in any way feel heavy for an electric vehicle.
The next question is from Nyball. Does it feel slower because of the lack of noise?
That is a great question. I love that question. So, unlike some other electric vehicles, the Taycan has this option for an electric sport sound. And I'll actually play that for you guys right now, because I can't rev it. Yeah, I can't rev it, but I can play this sport sound. So I've set it up where the individual drive mode has that electric sports sound. So when we go to drive, and okay, it's gonna be upset because the doors are open. Ugh. All right, close the doors. We'll just show it from the outside, the electric sports sound, because you can hear it. not quite. Like, it's got a distinctive noise, and it sounds so futuristic. This is as close as enthusiasts have gotten to, or as close as enthusiasts or anyone else has gotten to an enthusiast electric vehicle, giving you some more dimensionality than just that instant torque feeling. And that's why the Taycan is so much more exciting to me than any of the other electric vehicles. Porsche is really thinking about more than just instant torque and all the granted things that you get with an electric vehicle. They're like, okay, how can we make this more exciting? And I think this electric sport sound is just one of the really awesome ways you can do it. Also, check this out. You can adjust the ride height of the vehicle significantly. So right now, it's not fully slammed, but, or actually chassis height rather. Oh, it is fully slammed. How low as the car gets. So just show a wide angle of the car this low. So now the vehicle's like lifted, and this is actually really helpful for going over like driveways or something like that with steep angles. So that's just kind of cool, but it's a standard thing on the Taycan. And so what's the next question, Brett?
Steve45 asks, does it have any soul?
Have any soul? So another great question, and I think really directly related to that sound. And I didn't perfectly answer the previous person's question about whether it feels slower without an exhaust note. This actually feels very quick because of that electric sport sound. That's the direct answer. Does it have soul? It does, because of the way Porsche has engineered the handling and the responsiveness. So it has soul in the way it communicates with you as a driver. Does the average EV have a soul? I don't think so. So this is really just like, we're moving to a new stage for electric vehicles, and this car gets me excited about that, because I was really honestly pretty down on EVs and their lack of enthusiasm because they had no dimensionality. It was just acceleration. But this one is more than that. So yeah, it's bringing back some soul. Is it as exciting as like that Hellcat? No, but we're getting there. All right, next question.
Shafi asked, is there a GTS model available?
There is not a GTS model. So right now there is the 4S, there's the Turbo and the Turbo S, and they've just added a base model that has less range but is much less expensive. It's like $84,000. But those are the only trims. I guarantee they're going to bring a GTS model, and it'll be more like focused on handling, and it'll be somewhere split between the Turbo S price and the 4S and base one. All right, let me hop out and see if there's any other questions about the exterior before we do other stuff.
Venti Times asks, is this your preferred electric car?
Yes, definitely Venti Times. For all the reasons I just listed, it's more than just like left it in the super lifted height, sorry. But it's more than just a one-dimension enthusiast vehicle. It's got a lot more to it. Also, speaking of, like Teslas and all that, they have these really skinny tires that focus on range, whereas the Taycan, they were like, no, let's give it some legit Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, 245 section front, 285 section rear. Like, that's a thick contact patch, and that really gives it the sense of stability in a corner. I also just like the way the charge port opens. So you swipe your finger under this part. You swipe your finger, it may be because no, there we go. I just did it wrong. And it opens up that way. You can also close it the same way. It's cool.
Diego asks, does this car overheat?
No, I've not experienced anything, and I've driven it hard for a period of time, and it definitely doesn't do anything like overheating. And I haven't read about any of them overheating or anything like that. They did their homework on designing it, for sure. Show the back end. They saw the full profile, right, at some point?
Of the car?
Of the car, yeah.
Yeah. Danielle asked, should I buy it?
Should you buy it? If you have the money. If you have the money, yeah, definitely. Oh, I just realized the MilesPerHr thing I put on the back is gone. If you have the money, I would say definitely consider the Taycan 4S. If you're looking at an EV, you don't want to buy into the Tesla thing. Nothing wrong with Teslas. I like Teslas, but this just adds so much more as an enthusiast vehicle. So if you're looking at that, you're considering a Model S or this, I would definitely go with the Taycan. It's got so much more for me. The design, the performance, the interior, which we'll get into in a sec, is all better.
That's actually perfect timing. Sandy Patrol asks, what do you think about the interior design?
What do I think about the interior design? I love how we timed that. Well, so the Taycan has a lot of displays. Like it's trying to be futuristic for sure. And so you've got this curved 16.8 inch driver display. Then you have a 10 point something inch widescreen infotainment. Then you've got this little 8 point something inch touchscreen down here. This is for all your climate controls. And if you want to input something in the navigation, you can like draw characters like some other vehicles, and it's got hotkeys. And then this is an option. It's the passenger display. And so they can be working with the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, or not Android Auto. Android Auto is not in this car. They can be working with the Apple CarPlay system or changing the media, the navigation, or they also have a passenger cockpit screen so they can see the speeds you're doing. That's cool, and the drive mode that you're in. So that's all the screens in the car, and it seems overwhelming at first, but each thing seems to have a good solid purpose, and they're very easy to use. Like there are these buttons on the side of this 16.8 inch display, and these all adjust some drive settings. So if you want quick access to those, you can almost even reach them from the steering wheel. You just take your hand off for a sec, adjust like the suspension or the ride height really easily on there. So that's cool. I like the interior layout. It's very familiar if you've been in a Porsche or you've seen them, and they just take that leap into the future via a step, not a leap, rather.
Blake asked, what color would you choose instead of blue?
Yeah, so I mean, that's the thing. Like, I really was not necessarily a big fan of this color at first when they dropped it off, but now I'm like, it really kind of suits the car. They have a bunch of different colors available now. I can't remember. I know they have like the Mamba green. That's not the one I would choose. But if they had a flat dark green, I think that would look so cool on this car. I don't know if they have one yet available. Maybe as a holdover. I've seen this in like a midnight blue that's pretty good. That with full leather seats. This is the Race-Tex material. It's a leather-free option. And so it's got suede and then fake leather on the outside and then this knit material on the inside. They're cool, but I would go full leather. So like the navy blue / midnight blue on the outside and then tan leather interior would be great. I think it's a perfect Porsche combo.
Daniel asked, does it have trim levels?
It does. I mean, apart from the models that I named, the base, the 4S, the Turbo S, it doesn't have trim levels beyond that. It's more just like the packages that you add to the vehicle. This one has a lot of packages. It's got a performance package, so you get Sport Chrono, up here the lap timer, and then your drive mode selector here, and then that adds the electric sports sound I showed you. And this one also has the premium package, so you get ventilated seats. They're 18-way power adjustable. You get this big panoramic moonroof in here, super cool. But yeah, those are the packages you can add, but they don't have trim levels per se.
And then the last question from Instagram is, what's the driving range from Zivzilla?
So great question. So the EPA completely sandbags this car. They rate it like 227 miles or something like that. That's completely inaccurate because I was at like 80% and it was saying I had 227 miles. So independent tests have shown between 277 to 290 miles for the Taycan 4S with the performance battery pack. That's what this one has. So there's a base level battery pack you can get with this that makes 522 horsepower and has an EPA range of 199 miles, realistic range of like 250 miles, or the performance battery pack bumps this up to 562 horsepower and the range to realistically 277 to 290. So very close to a Model S at that point, although there's a long range Model S with 380 miles or whatever, so but it's much closer at that range. But very realistic and usable driving range in the Taycan.
Samuel Bashir asks what this color is called.
Color is called Frozen Blue Metallic, and it's only $800, which is kind of fun. It also, the car key matches the color. So you can, for almost as much as the paint job costs, you can have your car key painted the same color, and then they give you a leather pouch for it that they didn't give me. I guess they thought I was going to lose it. Probably right. Let me show the back seats. So here in the back, we've got the same kind of like sport bucket style back seats. You can get this as a 3-wide seating configuration or this 2+2 setup, which I think is way better. If you're going to be slamming this car full of people, maybe consider another vehicle. But I think the 2+2 is really cool, and the seats hold you in place really well. They also look rad. So that's these back seats, and I love where they hid these USB-C. I don't know if Brett can see it from there. You may have to go to the front door, but these USB-C ports, they hid them right there, which it's so smart to put them there because then the cords are actually closer to the passengers. So you're not having to reach like from further away. If you're like using your phone over here, the cords are right closer, and you're not having to look at them all the time. I like that. But yeah, apart from that, the back seats are very comfortable. At 6 feet tall, my head is kind of brushing against the roof though. I do have some knee room, and the foot pockets are nice and big so I can slide my feet forward, but yeah, I guess like 6 feet or over, over 6 feet, you're gonna probably have some issues because your head's gonna be on the roof like this.
Christian asks, is this better value than the Turbo S?
So I haven't driven the Turbo S. I know it's supposed to be a monster in terms of acceleration, and we've all probably seen the video of it like dusting a Tesla Model S. But I really think the value lies in the 4S. I maybe wouldn't option it up with quite as many options as I have in this one because it starts at 105. This one's 142 as tested. It's a lot of money. That's approaching that Turbo S price. So I would say get the 4S, but maybe go lighter on the options, and there's a ton of value here. The acceleration's crazy. We'll see. We can actually like probably head out and go do the drive now. Yeah, let's do that.
Forrest was asking if it passes the big bottle test.
Oh, Forrest. So great of you to ask. It does indeed pass the big bottle test. So in a couple ways. So you have these cup holders right here, and they can work in a pinch kind of like this, but the bottle can come out if you're getting real aggressive in the corners. Where it doesn't go anywhere is, I gotta take all my stuff out here, but it'll go in the door pockets nice and neatly. Thank you for the question, Forrest. All right, are we missing any other questions right now before we start the drive part?
I think for now we're doing good.
Okay, so we're gonna hit drive here. And, oh, your window's open, that's why. I was like, what's going on? Is it? Yeah, I left it open. So we'll start off in not Sport Plus. Let's start off in normal mode, and then I'm gonna raise the ride height here. So I just hit this lift button, and we're lifted. And with it set up like this, we're not hearing that electric sports sound. So I just want to show the difference. So easily clear that, steep driveway with it lifted, and then go back to regular ride height. And then we're just cruising around right now. Hopefully it comes back. All right, back for now. Sorry about that, guys. For whatever reason, the roads nearby where I do my live Q&As, sometimes YouTube just doesn't like them. So I'm still in not having the electric sports sound on, but if I go to individual mode, where I've calibrated the electric sports sound to be on, we'll hear the difference when you accelerate. It sounds very futuristic, with it sounds like boosts are coming on from somewhere. And it's really... Alright guys, we're just playing with the electric sports sound. So now I'm in individual mode, but I can go to, and that's going to lower the vehicle to its absolute, and it just improves throttle response even more.
Roads are the best.
Yeah. Oh, your seat heaters. That's got to be good.
Those getting toasty.
Yeah.
All right, we're back.
Just realized that my seat heater's been on. Is the air going to start flowing? Yes. Okay. So yeah, I was talking about the electric sports sound and how a gas-powered vehicle, you can really, depending on different throttle input and which gear you're in, it really changes up the soundtrack. This one, it's more uniform. Yes, you can have the volume increase or decrease, but it's still kind of the same soundtrack. That's maybe another way that electric vehicle manufacturers can play with it and give it more enthusiasm. But it's really entertaining, the noise, and it definitely adds to the excitement behind the wheel. That and just the way Porsche is dialed in this steering rack is so good. And the brake pedal feel is, it's a little, I wish there was a bit more initial bite, but when you dig into the pedal, you really feel the vehicle be hauled down. And then if we get an opportunity, I will do launch control. Which I might get one here. No. Oh, dang. We'll get one at some point, but launch control is really easy to activate. You can do it in Sport or Sport Plus mode. You just put your foot hard on the brake and on the gas at the same time. It will give you a pop-up that says launch control activated, and then you go. Any other questions that we're getting right now?
I think they're just like behind.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry about the cut-ins and outs. Got to figure out why you've not been happy with where we are shooting these videos.
Xavier's wondering if the rear seat space is a lot less than, I guess, just your average.
Oh, I think like, so rear seat space, honestly my only complaint is two things. Well, one, the headroom isn't great. Like my head was on the roof as a 6-footer, but the other thing is these sport bucket seats make it such that if you're in the back, it's a pretty wide, it takes over a lot of the rear visibility. So you're having to kind of like, as a rear passenger, like crane your head around the seat to see. But space-wise, it's not a problem really back there, and it's actually kind of fun because it feels like you're in a sports car still because of the sport buckets that you have back there.
That is fast.
What's crazy is that, like a lot of EVs in the beginning were just sort of like 0 to whatever speed, but this one, the mid-range pulling is insane. It's really, really quick. I was hoping we'd get a light with launch control, but it's okay. Let me talk more about these screens. So I talked about how the buttons are on the side, but you can also reconfigure it. So right now I've got a map taking over the whole display, but I can show like the power meter, and then I get these dials on the left and right hand side, more traditional display here. And then you can change up what's on the dials. So I could have my trip info, or I could show the drive mode, or media information, or sport chrono if I want a lap timer. Then you go to this other display. Right now I've got the G meter on there, traffic sign information. I can see where the power is going on the vehicle. So right now it's heavily rear biased, but you can see it change up as I accelerate and brake, and that's just a fun readout to have.
Yeah, that's actually really cool.
It's cool, right? Yeah, honestly, the Taycan changed my mind about whether an electric vehicle can be fun to drive beyond just like one day. Like the Tesla Model X Performance that I drove, it was super fun to drive for like that one day, and then it just kind of got old. Whereas this vehicle, I really think that you could have fun repeatedly for over many days.
Especially as like having this as a daily.
Yeah.
This could be a really good daily.
For sure. No, this would be a really nice daily because the ride quality is actually really good. I'm in Sport Plus right now, the harshest drive setting, and the ride quality has been great. So if you like do a normal like sport mode, that's where I would keep it honestly most of the time. The ride height's at a good set, regular height. The damping is still pretty soft. And you still have like tons of performance. I really still want to get launch control though. I mean, you're getting little tastes of it, but then in sport mode I don't have the electronic sport sound on, but I can turn it on right there if I want to. Also interesting, you can't adjust the air vents manually. You have to go into the car to the climate control setting, and then you can move where the air goes individually, or you can just have it say like, I want it focused on the passengers or diffused on us. I mean, this is cool, but it's like one extra step that you have to do. You can't adjust it manually. So if we go left, I get to PCH.
Having that extra noise makes it a lot better than just silence
Yes.
in a typical electric car.
Completely agree. Yeah, it's so much more fun. And I'm not going to be able to do a review with this one I just ran out of time with the move that I'm doing right now, but this will be the stand-in for my review. So if you have any other questions about impressions and stuff, feel free to ask.
Oh, is that an unreleased car?
Oh, it was. Yeah, we got a camo car right there. I'll take this corner quickly. You can see just how flat it is. It's crazy, and it just knows exactly where to put the torque so you can get the power down.
That
It's
handles
so flat,
super well.
so flat. Having all that weight down low really helps. It just changes the whole character. It's still weird not having to, change a gear, and you can distinctly hear, like from a launch, you can distinctly hear the changeover from first to second gear. Like slowing down because I keep pointing at a red light. No, it's not gonna happen. Of course, right after. But you can distinctly hear the shift for the rear transmission from first to second. So front, there's a just single speed direct drive, and then in the rear there is a transmission automatic gearbox, first to second gear, and you can hear it when it shifts over. And when you take your foot off, this is what I want to show. You just like coast so far because you don't have that parasitic loss that you do from a normal gas-powered car. I'll show you the turning radius too. We got rear wheel steering. I could have caught it. And it just turns so tightly.
Jeez.
It's not launched, but
There
it's
goes
just
the
sent
water.
my water bottle going. Oh my gosh. Don't worry about it. It's back there.
Just leave it.
Yeah, just leave it. Yeah, so the fact that you can just take your foot off and just let it coast for so far in range mode, it's honestly like you just need a little bit of acceleration and you could just coast through like whole stretches of road without needing to put your foot on the gas. Or put your foot on the brake, rather, which is cool. It's just so different from a gas-powered car where you have that gearbox and that engine braking that's happening. It's just not happening here in an EV. I was really hoping we get a launch control. I don't know if it's going to happen.
Getting very unlucky.
Very unlucky. Yes, thank you, Brett.
Drive 615 asked, what's your next press car going to be?
Next press car. Byron asked what my next press car is going to be. Let's see. After this one, well, I've got the Nissan Armada right now, which is completely refreshed for 21. First vehicle to wear that new Nissan badge. And then after that, I've got the Chevy Silverado High Country. And after that, BMW M2 CS. So we got some fun stuff coming, guys. We're on PCH now, a lot of traffic. I don't know if we'll get that launch control. Too bad.
That's surprising what time is it? 10:30?
Yeah. And meanwhile, any other questions that you guys have, feel free to ask and we'll answer them. Otherwise, we'll probably dip out.
Tuxedo Black Cat asked if it's easy to drive.
Very easy to drive. So the regen braking is one thing that in electric vehicles it takes people a while to get used to. In this vehicle, you can turn it on or off with just this button right here. And the regen braking isn't as profound as in a lot of other vehicles, a lot of other EVs, so it just doesn't take any time to get used to. And the difference between this and like a Tesla is I feel like you have to relearn how to drive in a Tesla because they're changing up so many things. This is just, you got your gear selector here, you just hit it into drive, and you can pop up and go to reverse, and you even have a starter button over here, which you don't have to use. You can actually just start the vehicle by just putting your foot on the brake. But there isn't a lot of relearning. This feels like a normal car cabin, just with a lot of screens. And you're just not having to visit a gas station. So it's very easy to drive, very easy to get used to if you're not familiar with electric vehicles.
Samuel asked if you can control the bass for the music.
You can, yes. So in the car setting, or not car settings, there is a settings, and then the Bose system, and then the bass and treble. So yes, you can raise or lower the bass or the treble. I keep getting people in front of me. Darn, I was hoping for a launch control, guys. I don't know if it's gonna work out. So we'll probably just end the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do have a POV drive for this vehicle up right now with launch control that you'll be able to watch, and I'll have a night drive coming, walk-arounds tomorrow, night drives after that, and I'm going to see if I can work on a POV ride to do, so you'll get that from the back seat and then from the passenger seat perspective. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Thank you, Brett, for manning the camera as usual.